One of the most important aspects of any sales process is good sales qualifying. This is where you want to really sift out people that are not potential buyers, people that are not genuine, or people that are just not realistically able to buy your product. This will be the true test between really good salespeople and people at the start of their career or beginners. And what it comes down to is a series of questions that you can ask your potential customers as part of any part of your sales process to really properly understand their needs, qualify them as a buyer, and then actually kick them out of your sales process if they look like a time waster, or move them forward and solve their pain points, hopefully on the way to a sale. So to start with, what is the problem you're looking to fix? Letting the customer actually talk about what is it they're actually looking to solve, not what they want to buy. This is purely about the problem, will really help you understand it and help you gain more information about the client that you can then look to fix. Next, what is prompting you to do something about this now? One of the classic problems that you always have in sales is when a buyer has a need, but they will kick the can down the road. They will delay purchase and they'll keep delaying. And actually, they don't really want to pay for it, so they'll keep delaying. But as a salesperson, that's not great. So if you can really properly understand what is it that is making you want to solve this now, it will go a long way to really understanding how credible they are or not. Related to this, ask the customer, what has stopped you from looking to solve this problem before now? It could be to do with budgets, it could be to do with staff, but again, it's all really useful intel that then you can use to understand and craft your future message. Again, you might also be able to identify some blockers which could come up, some objections later in the process, which then you can look to solve at the right time. Have you looked to solve this problem in the past? If so, what happened? This again could be a great example that you could be a marketing company looking to open up more doors to get in front of clients and convert them. But if they have had bad experiences in the past from other marketing companies or whatever, this is a great chance to get that intel. And then one of the techniques which we talk about later is about overcoming buying wounds, understanding where customers might have been hurt in the past so that you can solve that pain point and show how you're different. Understanding what has worked in the past should really help you sculpt your process and your sales offer moving forward. One of the most important things to ask is actually, what happens if you do nothing about the problem? What happens? Because actually, as a salesperson, one of your biggest competitors, as well as the time delay from people putting off making a decision, is actually them just deciding to do nothing at all. It could be that you sell, to be honest, anything, but there is always the option for them to do nothing. Do you have budget allocated for this project? Often clients will never want to say to you, yes, we've got a budget of £10,000, because then they probably expect to have a quote in for £10,000. So it might always be the case that they actually answer this with a value, but what is important is to actually get a feel for, do they have the money, or are they testing the water to get information to then request budget approval? I would still support both options, but one is a lot more credible to get a quick sale than the other. So it's always a really important process to ask. And then likewise, when you feed in this information to your own sales process for your business planning, it's really important to know if something is a live sales prospect that could land in the next 2 months, or if realistically this is a 6-month, 12-month plus project away because of the timing based on how they answer that question. Relating to this, ask, how does the budget sign-off process work? Who is it who makes a decision? And what this then does, lets you tease out who else are the other stakeholders in the process that you need to win over to really help get the sale across the line. Next, and you can ask these questions in any order, is what are you currently spending to solve this problem? If the client says nothing, it shows either they're very early stage in identifying the problem, but it will also give you a feel for how credible they are in what they do. And likewise, if your solution normally costs £10,000, if they only have a budget and they're only looking to spend £500, it's maybe not the right fit for you, and then you could choose to always disqualify them from the process. I will skip forward some of the other questions, but again, one really important one to ask is, what other hurdles do you think could derail this project? What could come up which actually stops, the sale going through? This is really important because you don't know the dynamics within the company that you're looking to target. The person might say, actually, there's Brian in accounts, he'll never sign it off. And then what that does, it flags up to you that you either need to get Brian on side, bring him into the process, but it will help flag up more potential hurdles, more potential things that could kill the sale early on for you to then solve. Next, what other solutions are you looking at? Who are our competitors? What else are you looking at for this project? What this does is hopefully give you some other alternatives to know who you're up against. Sometimes you'll get an answer, sometimes you won't, but it's always worth asking. Ask the customer, what does success look like for you? This is really useful to both articulate and get down on paper what it is that they actually are looking for, what is classed as a win for them, and actually, especially if you can get this in writing and share it back to them on an email, when you then come to do an evaluation, maybe 6 months, 12 months after the project is finished, or even just after you've delivered your service, if you can prove that you've achieved exactly what you set out to, it'll really help boost your reputation, and it also prevents the customer coming back for you and saying they're not happy. It also helps you understand their aims, goals, and ambitions before you actually start to work together. That's a really useful question to ask. The last few questions are all about your solution. What does it mean to the person to solve it? What you're doing here, really trying to get an internal stakeholder buyer to get their buy-in to buying your product, is to get the emotional connection and to really understand what it is their needs, what it means to that person to solve, and actually having someone to champion you within their organization to get the project across the line. This is really helping both future pace their problem, so getting them to visualize having the problem solved, but likewise having the person who will really help you get across the line, give you intelligence, and really get your stakeholder buy-in for everything that you're trying to do. And then last but not least is actually to do with, so when do you need this in place by? This again will actually allow you to work backwards, so that if the client needs a solution installed in 3 months' time, you might know it takes 2 months to actually build your solution. So they pretty much need to sign the paperwork within the next 2 weeks to be able to deliver in time for their deadline. And you can really use this intel to help get the sale across the line. But likewise, when you build it into your sales process, both to plan your revenues and to know what's going to happen next. And then last but not least, it's to agree again the follow-up actions. What do you do, when, and how? Get it on paper, get both sides agreed, and really together help move the sales process forward. So this, in a very short form, is sales qualifying. This is to help you understand your buyer, understand their pain points, understand if they can actually afford to buy your product, understand what the barriers are to purchase, and really help you and help your process get so much closer to actually converting at the end. People will always, rightly or wrongly, want more information and they will want your time. But as a salesperson or a business owner, you need to prioritize real customers that actually want to buy versus other people that might like you and they might like to talk, but they will also waste a lot of your time. You want to spend more people on the people that can buy your product and less on the people that can't. And sales qualifying is a massively valuable tool to really do that. So hopefully the questions within this page will help you actually create your own for your own process. But if you've got any questions, please feel free to get in touch.